Today I'm going through the 10 best hypercharges that you need to buy and start using right now in Brawl Stars. Make sure to like and subscribe or El Primus will jump on you, okay? Now I'm starting off strong with the portable ice cream machine Lou Gaming. Now I don't think you understand how good Lou's hypercharge can be. Now Lou's hypercharge pretty much allows a super to instantly freeze enemies who end up being in the frozen circle thing, and his hypercharge also gives him a 25% damage boost and 26% speed boost, which is actually insane, dude. Now this hypercharge is extremely broken, especially if you pair it with this infinite freeze build for Lou. I mean, if you manage to hit your hypercharge super on an enemy in hot zone, for example, it is extremely easy to team wipe. Well, because your enemies are literally ice now. The hypercharge is also really easy to charge because of the damage output that Lou has, so you can casually build 3 to 4 Lou hypercharges in one game and just keep on spamming it, dude. This hypercharge is really good if you're in aggro battles or if you're trying to get a team wipe and instantly win the game. So if you're looking for a unique hypercharge to buy and start using, buy Lou's hypercharge before it gets nerfed, okay? The next hypercharge that's currently really good right now is Byron Gaming's hypercharge. Now, if you're looking for a hypercharge for a support brawler, have no fear, Byron Gaming is here. Byron's hypercharge pretty much makes his super completely broken. With the hypercharge, his super ends up firing his main attack in a circle, and it does a good amount of damage, okay? So if I activate his hypercharge and throw his super, you can see that it'll also blast his main attack in a circle, which does some extra damage. And on top of that, he also gets a 25% damage boost and speed boost. And what's even more broken about this hypercharge is the fact that it charges in 8 shots, dude. 8 shots, bro. Because Byron does extra damage after hitting an enemy, it is extremely easy to charge this hypercharge and you can literally spam it. Now, because Byron is a support brawler, it's best to prioritize and heal your low health teammates, but this hypercharge does a crazy amount of damage and it can come in clutch in a lot of scenarios. For example, if the enemy team has made the middle of the gem grab map their territory and they're all grouped up in the middle for some reason, simply activate Byron's hypercharge, throw his super onto the enemies, and whack them out of existence. This hypercharge single-handedly puts Byron in the meta, bro, I'm telling you. And yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, comment your favorite hypercharge. The next best hypercharge that you need to buy right now is Kenji's hypercharge. I swear, dude, this hypercharge has been broken since the Katana Kingdom event. It is not even funny, bro. Now, Kenji's hypercharge pretty much changes the mechanics of his super. It basically pulls enemies into his super like a Tara grab, and the slashes become more precise. Also, Kenji ends up teleporting to the middle of the X instead of the start point of the super. So after the super is done, you can do even more damage with Kenji's attacks. And just for reference, Kenji gets a 25% damage boost, so you can do some serious damage with this hypercharge, okay? Now, I gotta be honest, the charge rate of this hypercharge is pretty slow, but you can still use this hypercharge at least 2 to 3 times in a Brawl Ball match. Now, this hypercharge is perfect in scenarios where your enemies are grouped up in one area. Even if you see at least 2 enemies grouped up, just use Kenji's hypercharge super combo, dash away, and whack them out of existence. This hypercharge is literally the main reason why Kenji has been an S tier brawler for several months, dude. Alright, now this next hypercharge is literally a free elimination every time you use it, and that is Lily Gaming's hypercharge. Now, Lily's hypercharge is so good that it literally helped me push her to 1,000 trophies, dude. Lily's hypercharge pretty much allows her super to bounce off walls, so you can trick shot it if you wanted to. And if you end up hitting an enemy with her super, you and the enemy would end up teleporting to the good old Shadow Realm. You know, the one that Trunks still can't enter for some reason. Now, the reason why I say that this is a guaranteed elimination, because once you hit the enemy with the super, you actually teleport directly to the enemy and also the Shadow Realm. So you can easily spam attack the enemy after hitting them with the super. Lily also gets a 25% damage boost, so you're basically guaranteed to eliminate the enemy if you manage to hit them with the hypercharge super combo, unless you have like 100 health or something. I definitely recommend buying this hypercharge and using it in 3v3 game modes if you're looking for another max tier brawler in your collection. This is an S tier hypercharge, bro. Alright, we're on to the next best hypercharge on this list, and that is my boy Chester Gaming's hypercharge. Now, this hypercharge is pretty interesting. It pretty much combines 3 of Chester's supers into one. He throws a candy thing that explodes, shoots a poison cloud, and also leaves a slowing area. All in one super during this hypercharge, bro. Now, I've faced a good amount of Chesters during my time in Brawl Stars, and every time I go against this hypercharge, bro, it is the most annoying thing to deal with because it's too broken. Now, I do have to admit, the charge rate of this hypercharge is pretty slow, but it's definitely an effective hypercharge in 3v3 game modes, and you can do some serious damage if you manage to hit it properly. I literally did over 11,000 damage to the robot, dude. This thing is literally a team wipe. Chester also gets a 15% damage boost with this hypercharge, so you can also spam your attack while your super is just obliterating the other team. The next hypercharge on this list is a pretty obvious hypercharge that you need to buy, and that is the all new 6-7 hypercharge. What is wrong with me, bro? But yeah, it's Kit's hypercharge, okay? Now, this hypercharge is a definition of insanity. I still don't understand how it hasn't been nerfed yet. Kit's hypercharge pretty much allows the super to stun the enemy instead of him being stuck to the enemy. And while the enemy is stunned, Kit can actually move around and spam attack the enemy. Now, what's crazy about this hypercharge is that you can recharge the super twice during the hypercharge and pretty much stun another enemy again. So after you whack one enemy out of existence, why not whack another one out of existence as well? On top of all of this, Kit also gets a 25% damage boost and 25% speed boost. So he does some serious damage with this hypercharge. And if you use this hypercharge while you're attached to a teammate, you're pretty much able to heal them more and also throw yarn balls at a longer range. But this hypercharge is honestly meant to be used with Kit's jumping super. If you have Kit maxed out, this hypercharge is a must buy. I mean, it is literally a free max tier brawler at this point, bro. Another hypercharge that's really broken is Griff Gaming's hypercharge. Now, surprisingly, a lot of people don't talk about Griff's hypercharge, well, probably because of the other crazy broken things in the game, like the new brawler Mina, but Griff's hypercharge is definitely a must-buy hypercharge this season. Now, his hypercharge pretty much multiplies his banknotes from his super once they begin returning back, and once they return back, they sort of return in waves, and the damage is just insane, bro. And what makes this hypercharge even more broken is the fact that it can go through walls, bro. So if you're playing in Gem Grab, for example, and there's a bunch of walls, just hypercharge and use Griff's super through the walls, and you can do some crazy damage, okay? This hypercharge really comes in clutch, especially when the other team is cooking you and they have 10 gems. Also, if you manage to hit your shots pretty well with the Griff, the charge rate of this hypercharge is extremely quick, and you can easily cycle through this thing a bunch of times. All right, we're entering the big 3 of hypercharges. I repeat, we are entering the big 3, bro. I mean, you don't want to miss the big 3 hypercharges because they're pretty broken, okay? Bonnie's hypercharge is next on this list, and there has been so much hype about this hypercharge. At first, I didn't really understand the hype about this brawler and hypercharge, but after buying the hypercharge and using it, I can finally understand why everyone is hyping up this brawler and hypercharge. Now, Bonnie's hypercharge pretty much allows her to stun the enemy when she ends up landing on them during her super for 1 second. On top of that, she also shoots a bunch of teeth in a circle that also do some damage, which is pretty nice. Now, because Bonnie is mostly a slow brawler, there's not really much that you can do except snipe enemies from the backline. But the moment you get her super and hypercharge, you can instantly become a fast-paced brawler and deal some crazy damage with Bonnie when using her super. Her hypercharge also gives her a 25% damage boost, so while the enemy is stunned for that good 1 second, you can deal some extra damage and even eliminate the enemy you stun. Her super is also a good way of escaping from enemies or even catching up to them, because she is so slow, dude. I mean, what is this? And if you thought that that was it, Bonnie's hypercharge literally takes 9 of the Clyde shots to charge. So her hypercharge has a pretty fair charge rate, and you can easily charge at least 2 to 3 of her hypercharges in a Brawl Bar or Gem Grab game. Now, this next hypercharge might surprise a lot of people, but it is definitely a must-buy hypercharge if you're looking for another broken hypercharge, and that is Mortis Gaming's hypercharge. Now, if you actually know what you're doing with Mortis and you understand his mechanics, this hypercharge is extremely broken and you can do some crazy damage. Mortis's hypercharge pretty much allows the super to return to him after you use it, so it pretty much allows him to do double the damage if the super manages to hit the enemy twice, and he also does double the healing. Now, as you can see, Mortis's regular super does 1,800 damage to the robot, but with the hypercharge, I'm doing a total of 4,500 damage just with the super, which is actually insane. Mortis's hypercharge charge rate is also pretty decent, and he also gets a 25% damage boost during his hypercharge. Now, I've been using this hypercharge in Brawl Ball, and it honestly comes in clutch when I'm trying to score a goal or if I'm in a 2v1 sort of situation. Mortis's super does pierce through walls and enemies, so you can easily hit his super onto multiple enemies with the hypercharge. But yeah, we are onto the final hypercharge that you need to buy in this Brawl Stars season. Now, this hypercharge is extremely broken, and it has single-handedly put this brawler in the S tier, and that is the legend himself, Ollie Gaming's hypercharge. Ollie's hypercharge pretty much transforms his super and makes it 10 times more broken. With this hypercharge, Ollie can now jump like El Primus with his super. His music blast area thing is also much bigger, and it doesn't consume ammo when it starts charging, whatever that means. Ollie also gets a 25% damage boost, so I'm sure you can imagine how broken this hypercharge would be in 3v3 game modes. Now, you're almost guaranteed to confuse at least one of your enemies because of Ollie's larger music blast area thing. I mean, just look at this, bro. Now, in my opinion, I think that this hypercharge is very broken because of the fact that Ollie can literally jump into enemies with it. So if your enemy is running away, you can literally jump into them with the hypercharge super combo, and that's pretty much a guaranteed elimination unless you somehow miss all your shots. And just for reference, this is the distance that he can jump to. How is that fair, bro? This hypercharge definitely comes in clutch in game modes like Gem Grab. I mean, if you see an enemy with 10 gems trying to run away, you know what to do. Activate Ollie's hypercharge, jump towards the enemy, and whack them out of existence. existence. Just make sure to have your teammates with you because you'll probably get whacked out of existence in the 3v1, okay? But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, click on this video to see the 10 most useless hypercharges in Brawl Stars.